you asked, and Gonzo's Pinball Flipperama did what they were bloody well told, which was, we want to find out about Champion Pub. Where does it rank in the top 50 pinball machines? Thank you very much for everybody that got involved. It was actually a dead heat. It was a tie. It was between Star Trek Next Generation and Champion Pub. I've already got the magnet already scribbled out in my non-permanent marker. The reason I'm doing Champion Pub and I'm not doing Star Trek Next Generation is I just have a whole load of extra footage here for Champion Pub. Champion Pub has been here since I started doing the channel, so even though I have owned a Star Trek Next Generation, I don't have great footage of it, and I do like to, when I do these reviews, have sort of clips of the machine to feature in there. So next time I see a Star Trek Next Generation, I'll get some footage on my camera and then we'll incorporate it into the video. But make no mistake about it, these are two of my favourite games, and I thought they were really, really good choices. There were some interesting votes as well. I just need to, I'm not going to bang on about it for too long, because I just want to get this video done and get it up and get it out there very, very quickly. But the criteria for me appraising the game and it being able to feature on the top 50 is that I have to have had it in this house, either on loan or owned it or rented or whatever the case may be. I had a request for the Hobbit. I never had a Hobbit. That Hobbit I've played once, and it was at my friend John's house, so I couldn't feature that. The Circus Voltaire, exactly the same. I've never had a Circus Voltaire here, so I couldn't really rate it as something that I've had in this house. So thanks for suggestions. Couldn't do it. There's a very naughty suggestion asking about Foo Fighters, which I thought was a tad early. I'll give that another month or two before I review that one. But it's Champion Pub, as I say now. Normally what will happen is I would get Craig in to give a second opinion on Champion Pub. I'm not going to do that because I just want to get the video out quickly. And I just thought, as soon as I saw the suggestion, I thought, yeah, this is the one I want to do, because I'm a convert. I am a massive fan of Champion Pub. It was the machine I never knew I needed. I've never played it before John, my friend John, lent it to me. And it's a wonderful game. It really is a wonderful game. It's the very antithesis of a modern Stern machine. It's simple and it's fun. Let me put it this way. If I had, imagine a scenario. You have a friend that comes round to your house for a barbecue or a beer or whatever, and they've never played pinball before, and you want to get them hooked on pinball. What you want to do is show them why pinball is so great. I think probably the worst thing you could do was be to put them on Avengers Infinity Quest. The rules are complicated. You wouldn't be able to explain it quickly. There are no toys on the playfield. I just think I've seen it. I've had that game here twice. Nobody's interested apart from pinball players. What I would choose to do is I would put them on a Champion Pub. And I'm going to explain why. It's just one of those games. Not only a Champion Pub, you could put them on a Cactus Canyon, maybe Circus Voltaire that we described earlier, Junkyard, something like that, something with some toys, with a bash toy in it, something that's easy to understand. They could just start flipping and start enjoying it. And what I would say is about Champion Pub, it is just unbridled fun. Now, the criteria I've explained. What it needs to get up on that board, it needs to have been in this house. But how do I rank them? How do I rate them? How do I assess and make sure one game is better than another? I do it differently to Pinside. I'm not going to describe the whole process down one side of the screen. You're going to have how Pinside do it, and down the other side of the screen with the lovely graphics that Spencer kindly made for me. It's going to explain how I assess it, and that is for things like fun. Is it addictive? Humour, charm, personality, toys, mechs? Is it approachable? Are the shots good? What are the rules like? Does it have achievable goals? Is it rewarding or is it frustrating? And finally, do I regret it leaving? Then what we'll do is later on we'll walk over to the board and I'll decide where it ranks in that list. If things are close, I'll think to myself, hold on a second, if I had no pinball machines and you were to offer me one, just loan me one, because I think that if loaning takes price out of the equation, which game would I have? And that's why yesterday, as you may have noticed, you might not be watching this yesterday, you might watch this in a year's time. That's why Ghostbusters went under Judge Dredd, because Judge Dredd has got some of the best call-outs and DMD animations out there, and I just have a love for that game. But this is a really good game, Champion Pub, and this is, well, we'll see where it features, really, won't we? Anyway, please, if you disagree, whatever. But this is my list, and these are games that are my preferences. You may not agree. You may well have your own list, and I'll be very, very interested to hear what your favourite games are. Okay, let's just get straight to discussing the game, and I'll try and weave in some footage as we do it. Is it fun? Is the Champion Pub fun? There is no more fun to be had on a pinball machine than the Champion Pub, as far as I'm concerned. It is, well, what it sacrifices in rules, it's a very, very simple game. It is fun. It really is. I can't think of anything. There's a lot of games, like Medieval Madness, like Attack from Mars, which have great call-outs, and they are well renowned for having amusing, funny call-outs. And there are many games like that. But one game that rarely gets mentioned is a Champion Pub, and the Champion Pub has just the best call-outs, I think, of any pinball machine. The premise of the Champion Pub, if you don't know it, is you've got into the toughest boozer in town. You've gone into a bar, and it's a baller's bra, and what you've got to do is basically fight your way to become pub champion, to become champion of the pub. Whilst you're doing that, you have to train. You have to train yourself in the pugilistic arts. And once you've achieved a certain level, then you will go and fight people. But it's a bit like the world rankings in boxing, if you like. You've got to fight better and better and better guys. But it's packed full of different characters. Probably a lot of generic stereotypes, if we're honest. But they work. They absolutely work. Think Attack from Mars with the impressions of the Frenchman and the German and then times that by 10. They probably won't be able to make this thing now, such are the generic stereotypes, but they are so good. They're even-handed in their Mickey taking, and I absolutely love it. Is it addictive? You're damn right it's addictive. It really is. It's such an obvious, achievable goal to become champion of the pub and to beat up the pub champion, that you can't help but strive for it. It's like Attack from Mars in that sense. It's quite obvious what you've got to do. The theme is telling you, the playfield is telling you, and the bash toy is telling you. And what a bash toy, by the way. Humour, it's got tons of it. It has you're overwashed with it. There's a tsunami of humour coming at you. Every fighter has his own catchphrase, his own quirks. Even something like multi-ball is not called multi-ball. It's called multi-brawl. And it results in a fist fight in the bar. Why not? What else would happen? Has it got charm and personality? Is there another pinball machine with as much charm and personality? I mean, there may well be, and I'm sure there is. But it's up there. I mean, I can't think of any with more charm or personality. It's oozing personality. And so now you can see, if you're looking at my checklist, I think my checklist may well still be on the screen at the moment. If you're looking at my checklist, you can start to see how this game is really ticking all of my boxes. Toys and mechs. Well, what can I say about the toys and the mechanisms? The central figure is a brawler. There's nothing more simple. As you know, you've got to beat him up. You have to hit the bash toy, which is a boxer, a bare-knuckle boxer. You have to hit him with a steel ball. It's so obvious. There's no need to look at the apron card. There's no explaining the rules on this one. It just makes absolute sense. In the way that World Cup soccer makes absolute sense, you've got to hit the ball into the goal mouth. It just works. It's just some things lend themselves to pinball. This does. Before the boxer, the bare knuckle brawler turns round, no, it's a heavy bag. It's a heavy bag. It's basically a punch bag. So you have to work your way up. You have to train on that. You're training up your stamina. In the same way that maybe if you played console games and played fighting games when you were younger, you know, you would have a power bar and you'd have stamina that builds up. They've certainly done it in a digital version on Deadpool, which is just behind me there. In the same way you build up your stamina, but it also has, when you're in a fight and you're in a brawl, it will deplete those stamina bars. So you can see the damage you're inflicting on your opponent and the damage your opponent is doing to you. Genius in its simplicity. What about the toys and the mechanisms? Is it just that? No, it's not. There are, I don't know how nobody else thought of this. The skipping rope is just genius. It really is. It's not even technically a rope. It's just It's just a bit of wire that goes round and round and round, and you have to time the jump. You have to jump it. You are basically with the ball skipping. It's a little solenoid that pops the ball up. You have to time it by pressing the flipper button, and you skip. It's all part of your training. Or you can go around to the right, and you can do the speedball. You know that one. I probably don't need to do the noise. You know, they punch the speedball and they do it really quickly. Boxers when they're training, we've all seen it. We've seen Rocky do it, right? That's on the right-hand side. Again, there are two fists, and you've got to hit the ball with the two fists. This is all separate and independent of the flippers. These are magnificent mechanisms. Absolutely magnificent. And you look at the love, the creativity, in terms of the mechanisms and the story behind it and everything that's gone into this. And as I mentioned, it's very antithesis of a stripped down modern machine. Not all of them, but by the way, you know, not every game is like that, of course. But it's wonderful. They just don't make pinball machines like this anymore. Well, I guess unless Chicago Gaming Company decides to recreate it, in which case they do. But it is one of a very, very special games. And I absolutely love it. Where are we? Is it approachable? There's nothing more approachable. I've already covered that. I don't even need to talk about it anymore. The shots and the positions, I'll be honest, they are not the best shots in the world. They really aren't. Avengers Infinity Quest has far better shots. But every shot on here means something. And you know what it means. There's some really, really nice little bits in it. The ball lock's very satisfying. There's not a lot more satisfying in pinball than hitting, than when you're in a fight and hitting the brawler, hitting the boxer. I think that's really good. You spend the game working your way towards a fight and training your way towards a fight. Are there games with better ramps? Absolutely. There's a really nice use for the ramps, though. There's a couple of ramps, some more mechanisms where a couple of ramps pop down, like little diverters, and they pop up, and it sort of does a 180 on you, basically, when you hit it. But they're not there all the time. They are only activated during a fight, which, again, is just nice. Really, really nice. So, yeah, there are better shots in pinball. This is a simple game. Rules, well, you know what? The rules are magnificent, quite frankly. They are just simple, easy to follow rules. You can't really beat them. For me, I give me a game like this with a simple rule set over one of the complicated ones every day of the week. Just because something has simple rules doesn't mean you can do it. And I know that because at the UK at the moment, there are a lot of people who have just taken ownership of their total nuclear annihilations. And I've been watching their threads, nothing to do with me, but I'm sort of a bit voyeuristic, really. I'm looking at what they think of their new pinball machine. And it's, just because they understand the rules, it's knowing it's one thing, doing it is quite another. There's quite a nice part in it as well when you get through the game is you can gamble your purse, the money you would earn from winning a fight. You can gamble that on your next fight. Back yourself to win it, and that way you can really boost your score. It's not the only game to do that. I mean, just below, you probably can't see it, just behind Zippy there is Sopranos. Sopranos has a similar thing, but it's a game of poker, isn't it? Does the game have achievable goals? Yeah, they are achievable. But you're not completing this game every time. Make no mistake about it. I have completed this game, but it's kicked my arse many, many times. Is it rewarding? Massively. Is it frustrating? No. And I say that as somebody that does get frustrated with games. I really do. If I don't like a game, I can get very, very frustrated with it. And you will know, because when I get a little bit further down that list, there are some games that frustrate me so much that I just don't enjoy them, even though I know they're good games. A lot of that is down to my ability as a player. And a lot of the games I find frustrating are hard games. Better players than me enjoy them. I don't. That's why fun is so important. And I don't. If a game's not frustrating, I don't mind sort of losing on it. If that makes any sense. Do I regret it leaving? Yeah. There's not much I miss more than Champion Pub. It has to be said. There can't be very much. And in fact, the more I think about it, I'm wondering why I don't have a Champion Pub. But we have a I have a finite number of games. I can only have 4 or 5 games here, and I say only. I do realise that I'm massively privileged to be able to have that. So it's nice to refresh your lineup. It's nice to have something new in and try new things. And I have had Champion Pub here on 2 occasions, and it is actually down at Spencer's at the moment. So I've been very blessed and very lucky to have been able to have this game and enjoy this game. But I will say this much. If I was ever in a luxurious position where I had the space and the money to have, for instance, 10 machines, Champion Pub would be in there. For all the reasons I said. It would be that game where your mates come round and you have a beer and you just play some pinball. And that's there. And I can't really think of, probably with the exception of Dolly Parton, but that's for different reasons. I think Dolly Parton and Champion Pub are the 2 games, possibly Fishtails as well, if I'm honest. No, actually, Fishtails can be quite difficult. We're going to go with Champion Pub and Dolly Parton are the 2 games that non-pinball players have gravitated to most. Not only do they want to play it, they want to play some more. And you know it's working when your non-pinball friends phone you up and say, can I come over and play that game again, please? You know you've got a winner on your hands. Champion Pub, I love it. I've rushed through this video for obvious reasons because I want to get it out there. Let's go and have a look where it rates on the leaderboard. So you all know what happens now. We've got to decide where this is going to go. Well, I can tell you now that it's pointless looking at the bottom for this one. This game, to me, I would have ahead of Popeye, Ghostbusters and Judge Dredd. I don't think there's going to be any surprise to you there. There's nothing controversial in me saying that. However, and I'm not just saying this to be controversial, if you were to offer me a Medieval Madness, and I know you're going to think I'm suffering from some Medieval Madness now, if you were to offer me a Champion Pub or a Medieval Madness to loan for a year, I would take the Champion Pub without hesitation. Without hesitation. Medieval Madness is not one of my favourite games. This is one of my favourite games, so it's easy. It's easy for me to prefer this over Avengers Infinity Quest. That's probably not going to be a massive surprise to you because of what I've just said in the video. So then we have the 2 above it. Elvira's House of Horrors and Attack from Mars. And that's probably where this is going to sit, because I would take an Attack from Mars over almost any other pinball machine. It has to be said. It is... I think I can probably reveal now Attack from Mars is going to be in the top 3 or 4 when I finish the 50. That's for sure. No doubt about it at all. So it can't finish above Attack from Mars. They're actually quite... They've got good magnetic qualities, these labels. This is certainly not the Polaris label, that's for sure. Let's put it on there. Does it finish above Elvira's House of Horrors? For me, it doesn't. Because Elvira's House of Horrors got lots of fun, has the toys, has a lot of stuff. Plus, it also has the shots as well, those sort of rewarding ramps, so it can't go above there. However, for the moment, and I don't think it's going to stay in thirds, I think that's probably fair to say. For the moment, Champion Pub sits there in 3rd position. And I hope now what we're probably going to start to see, there's an anomaly in there. But a large part of my my top 50 is fun. The machine has to be fun. And the anomaly in there, for me, is Avengers Infinity Quest, which is just not fun. For me, personally. If it's one of your favourite machines that has brilliant shots, probably the best shots of all the games there, Avengers Infinity Quest. But it's missing that fun factor. But there's a lot of reasons for it to be up there, which I'll have detailed. If you've not seen that video, go back and see Avengers Infinity Quest. But in terms of fun, Attack from Mars, Elvira House Horror, Champion Pub, Medieval Madness, Judge Dredd, Ghostbusters, and to an extent, Popeye, are good fun games. And there you go. So thank you very much to everybody that's voted. In yesterday's video, I read out the list of games that will qualify for this list because I've had them at the house. If you're unsure what they were and you don't fancy checking yesterday's list, if you go and find me on Pinball Info, the UK's forum, then on my signature it has a list of games that I currently have or have had in the past. A couple of you pointed out I didn't mention Lord of the Rings yesterday. You're absolutely quite right. I didn't mention Lord of the Rings, but I have had it here, and it's one of my favourite games. Unfortunately, like Star Trek Next Generation, before I do the Lord of the Rings video, I'd probably like to go and harvest some more footage and play it again. It's another game that I miss. Anyway, I'm digressing. This is the Champion Pub video, and we love us a bit of Champion Pub.